Go. So, no, we were talking about how I don't think Marvel's ever flopped since, like, they rebooted everything. Since the Iron Man. I don't think they've, flopped.
All right, so what's the best Hulk of all time? Because there was a few Hulks. Spider-Man, like, I feel like they're outside of Marvel's realm.
Tom Holland's got Spider-Man.
So this is where it gets me fucked up. As a kid, I have to go back to, like, this is, again, personal for me, because as a kid, I used to watch the old Marvel, or the old Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
With
Lou Ferrigno.
Lou Ferrigno,
Yeah.
And like that was like my favorite. Like I still watch some of it because me and my dad would watch it together before we get on the, or before he put me on the bus.
No, that's the throwback.
So but like
you guys weren't born yet, were you?
The absurdity of those fits though that he had on, like they literally just painted them green.
Yeah, well, it's crazy.
No
to
CGI,
see,
just painted green.
When he would like transform, and you would just see him like, and like it would just
those were live muscles.
Yeah.
But as a kid though, you're like, man, that's
and he put like an extra small shirt on, dude, and just would. But if I had to go like this generation best Hulk, obviously it would be what's the
most recent one. I think
the most recent
by far. I think it's better than the one before.
Yeah, because
who was the guy before this Hulk? I forgot.
What's his name?
Mark Ruffalo is this one.
Edward Norton was the
Mark Ruffalo is
the Hulk.
Mark Ruffalo is the Hulk.
He got in the contract
he was
dispute,
the
right?
The fuck. Yeah.
He had the contract dispute with Marvel, and they were like, "Yeah, we can replace you though."
Yeah, well, and I think that was a pivotal moment because then they took somebody like Robert Downey Jr. and basically transformed his entire, his
career.
His career as a whole as an actor.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think because before that he was untouchable. Everyone was like, he's a cokehead.
Right.
I mean,
nobody wanted parts with him. No. They turned him into the Iron Man, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But he quits that because he doesn't want to be seen as that, but hasn't made a good movie since.
Have you seen him in The Judge? The Judge was like, have you ever seen The Judge?
Yeah, he's pretty good in The Judge.
The Judge was like, to me, that's it.
Okay, The Judge.
I'm telling you, man, go watch The Judge.
When did this movie come out?
I don't know, what, 10, 15 years ago?
Okay, dog.
The Judge, to me...
This is after Marvel.
Like Sherlock, we're talking about like Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, dog.
The
Judge is. I'm telling you, the Judge is good movie. The Judge is awesome, bro.
We can't.
Like for real.
I'm talking post Marvel, like Iron Man. He's not made anything.
Well, I mean, he's Iron Man. It's hard to see him as anything but Iron Man.
Sherlock Holmes.
It's like he's kind of typecast.
Well, you think? I mean, you can't. There's been no movie universe that has lasted 30 movies and people still pack them out.
Oh yeah,
time and time again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Marvel's undefeated. DC doesn't have an ounce of skin on the game, and I know you all talked about Batman.
Well, I like the new Batman. I love the new Batman.
I
love the new Batman.
But I mean, how many times do you recreate the same person before you finally say, "Hey, this isn't working"?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. DC's never been really, except for the Dark Knight series.
Well, what DC's figured out though is
telling a whole story.
Yeah.
They've besides the Dark Knight series, which is completely separate, they've never been good at kind of bringing continuity to everyone. Like that's what Marvel figured out early 2010s. They were like, we have this universe that we can pull all these characters together, and they made you care about. We're talking about Moon Knight. Mm-hmm. They made you care about a character I didn't even know who Moon Knight was.
Right. Yeah.
They make you care about like characters that you have no idea.
They're great at character development.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that Marvel excels at is they incorporate comedy in the movies.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time how comedy really helps influence people and it helps, really deliver more of a clear message. And,
definitely.
You might hate this villain, but he's funny, so you kind of like him too. Tommy, what are you thinking, man? What do you think about all this?
I'm thinking about hip hop, man.
That's what you're here for.
Speaking of hip hop,
he's ready to go. Dude.
Should we get started?
I wasn't much on the Marvel stuff and all that, so I mean, I'm just listening. I'm learning right now.
Nice.
No,
I'm sponging it up.
I'm a nerd at heart. I mean, honestly, like I love Marvel stuff, but to Trader's point, we're here for hip hop, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we're here for a lot. We're here for a lot more than hip hop today.
Well, I mean, we got Drew Davis, we got Tommy Burdette today. Mm-hmm. So, do you want to get us started?
We can get it kicked off.
Let's get it. Right. Let's get it going.
With that being said, welcome back to the Prop Culture Podcast. I am your host, Matt Trader, and to my left, as always, is my tag team partner, Mr. Shane Snoots. And today, ladies and gentlemen, today, right here in the studio with us, we have the owner of Dead Stock Apparel, Mr. Drew Davis. Drew is also the host of the world-renowned, or at least locally renowned, OG show. But wait, there's more. Also with us today, we have back again the racing realtor, Mr. Tommy Burdette. Give us a hey, do it, Tommy. We brought Tommy on the show today because we felt like we were going to probably just get into some hip hop.
Just to be clear, that tagline was racing realtor, right?
Racing
Not racist realtor.
Did I say racing realtor?
What'd
If you say it fast, if you say it with no syllables,
I don't know.
What's the tagline?
The racing realtor. Yeah.
I drag race.
The racing realtor.
I like racing realtor.
if you say it fast without a syllable, it could sound.
Oh man, I don't like
That's
this.
dicey. Listen, it's dicey. We're not going to
I'm
go
gonna have to come up with another one now.
It caught my attention though. Not gonna lie.
All right. Well, now that that's over with, we got Drew on the show with us here today. Drew,
Yep.
owner of Dead Stock Apparel. For those who don't know you, I think everybody pretty much knows you locally here. But for those who might be listening from afar, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do and which programs is all about there at Dead Stock?
We started Dead Stock SBY 2014. We've done a summer pop-up in Ocean City from 2016, 2019, and we just opened our year-round location in Ocean City in the West Ocean City outlets. We're open year-round, 7 days a week, 10 to 8. I know a lot of people say, Shane, we were having a conversation off air. You know, our hours are a little wonky in Salisbury, but that's downtown Salisbury for you. So downtown Salisbury is a little wonky itself. So, the idea of, bringing that culture to the shore in 2014 was something that was needed. And I feel like culture is built around that. With that note, 2015, Live 97.5 came into existence, and I had recently lost my grandmother, and at that time period, I needed something to switch it up, kind of get me back in the swing of things, and I hit up Brian Banks and said I had my idea for the show, and that's where the OG show came to life, man. And Ski Boogie and I, Ski being one of the most prolific as far as Eastern Shore DJs, he's right there with the Tavons and Rated R's of hip hop culture. It's been a blessing to be able to ride that wave with him for years as well. Not to mention the philanthropy and stuff like that, Hoops on the Ave and things like that. We'll talk about that in a little bit though.
Absolutely. So what's going on? And I know you and I did the deal together about probably about 7-8 months ago now in Ocean City.
Actually we're pushing a year.
To bring Dead Stock to the outlets in Ocean City.
Right.
I know that it's a completely new, I don't say business model, but you're bringing something that relatively was mainly downtown Salisbury, and you've kind of put it on a broader stage next to all these national tenants.
Sure.
What's it like being at the outlets, and how do you think that's going to help you with with your exposure to a larger audience?
I think my thing for Ocean City was creating something new and different from what the identity of what Salisbury or the Salisbury store was when we opened in 2014. I was just coming up with a couple dollars in a dream at that point. It
starts.
And a lot of things have transformed and changed and become more and better since then. And the OC store, I wanted to show as the growth of what Dead Stock's brand is, what we're trying to deliver to the shore. Not to mention that I do have a vision for 3, 4, 5 stores in the future. So, to be able to take it from what that humble beginning was to something that still, it's humble beginnings as far as opening 2 stores, because you don't know what the hell you're getting into when you try to, branch into multiple locations, and that learning curve has been awesome, because I feel like I'm like back at the beginning again. You know what I mean? I'm grinding it out, and I'm putting in long hours, and I'm doing what I got to do, and that's part of the overall growth that I wanted Dead Stock to see. And I want people that come into the store, young kids, older people that are looking for something to inspire them. That's what I'm trying to provide.
You can see that in the OC store. Like, you can see the evolution from downtown Salisbury to that OC store. It just feels, it feels the same, but not, if that makes sense. Like, I know it probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but you can see that you guys have a lot more exclusive pieces there. There's a lot more higher end stuff for that clientele.
Definitely.
And like we talked about, there's so many people that I know that come down to visit that knew about your store here in Salisbury.
Right.
And they're like, they never get, because Salisbury is just hard. It's a hard spot when you're here to visit.
Correct.
Ocean City, so you're not going to go to make a trip, but now that you're right outside. Everyone goes to the outlets. Like, everyone takes a trip.
Look, I was down there yesterday. I had my family down there, and we went to, I think it was Panera.
Okay.
We were kind of cruising around. I was like, check that out, man. We haven't officially met until today, but I know about your store and what you've done, man.
Word.
When I saw that, I was like, man, that's what's up, man.
Thank you, man. I
Blowing
appreciate
up.
it.
It's such a cool thing, though.
Yeah, I think like even from the identity when you walk up to the store, I recreated in one of the windows like my childhood bedroom space. What felt like, with the 3-tier CD changer and the tape cassettes in the front, and like that was literally my radio that's sitting in the window, and then the desk and
you
like
had CDs when you were young.
Yeah, I had CDs, man. I was in the early '90s.
So we grew up the same. We grew up the same time. CDs were our thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And like we might have had tapes.
Yeah,
that's how we recorded stuff on the radio.
Remember when CDs came out?
I needed the functionality of both because at that point I still had like this collection of tapes, but then I was transitioning into the CDs.
Yeah.
Did y'all keep your CDs in a leather binder?
You had the
separated and stuff.
Of course.
And then you take the album cover out of the plastic and slide it into where the CD
Oh yeah.
is. These
do you
kids
remember
don't know
burning
shit.
the CDs though? Like, do you remember burning CDs and and you would name them like hot fire, like liquid crack
Summer
or something,
2012
like
or
liquid
whatever
crack
you do.
2020, whatever. And you're like,
Summer
you would
fire, liquid crack was fire.
Yeah, and you were like, that's how you knew.
That's how you set the mood.
Yeah, like, and you had like your CDs to go to, but like on a piece of paper, you had like all the songs written on there. You're like, oh yeah, because Ja Rule, let's not pretend he was hot at one point in time.
The funniest thing, he was on Breakfast Club this morning, and I'm riding down the road with my son. He's 13. He has no clue Ja Rule. He's just getting into like Jay-Z and Biggie and stuff like that. They go on like a mix. DJ Envy plays this like 30-minute mix of Ja Rule hits, and I'm going one by one, and I'm like pointing at him like, where would I be without you, baby?
What would I be without my baby? I thought I loved, like, the crazy part is revisionist history. We look back, 50 Cent murdered him and took his career. But
of course.
But before that, like, he was like he was that like stopgap.
He was the pop DMX.
Yeah,
but he was the stopgap in between.
He was the pop DMX.
Between Tupac, after Tupac left, and Biggie, and that there was like this gap of like they needed some kind of like.
Murder Inc. was the watered down version of what gangster rap was, could have been.
That's exactly it. Yes.
That's what it needed at that time. White people needed a crossover to make it be like, oh, I feel good about this. Let's put J-Lo on the record and we'll make it multicultural. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's where like that stuff growing up, because we grew up similar time frame is in the 90s. Those guys were hot, dude. Like Ja Rule was hot. 50 Cent was, you could tell when he came onto the scene. It just changed everything.
I remember
he was the anti-culture.
Everybody talks about Get Rich or Die Trying, but guess who's back? The album before.
Oh my God.
Guess who's back? Like, I remember I went to school down in North Carolina, and I remember when that came out, I went and grabbed it. I think at there was like a mixtape store next to Pipe Dreams on 50, and I got it right before I left. And I remember literally putting that CD in, and I don't think I took it out for like 8 hours. To Guess Who's Back.
Yeah.
Get Rich or Die Trying was good. Problem with 50 Cent is he kept making the same song and the same album over and over again. It killed his shelf life.
Definitely.
That's everything.
Nah, really.
He was nice when he first came out.
He was, but yeah.
He once he made it, he was more focused on entrepreneurship and making money.
Yeah.
When he
Well, he
first
wanted to
came
get
out
out of it.
We were rocking 50 Cent when he first came out.
Oh, hell yeah.
Everybody was. He made him a billionaire.
But you even think of like it. Fast forward to now, like Power. You guys watch Power?
Yeah.
I know about it.
When Power comes on, it's like they say, "Is this a big rich town?" Everybody knows that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like 50 still has the ability to make music. I just feel like his focus changed once he got that vitamin water bag, and it was like,
100%.
I'm gone. You know what I mean?
In fairness, though, in my opinion, he made the halftime show. Like that was my when he came in the halftime. I'm not saying he was
when he wasn't doing it unless 50 was on
We
stage.
had an extra ham sandwich.
When
before.
50 came out,
I'm not trying to clown him.
that was
When
my
he was upside
dude.
down. Don't lie.
He
You were
looked
like,
a little husky
look,
in that.
everybody was like,
Hey, but when Jay-Z
Well, gravity goes both ways.
Well,
Gravity
good
pulls you
life will
this
give
way,
you a
but if
belly,
you're flipped
but that's
upside
cool.
down, you don't
Do
look
what?
brand new.
Jay-Z said the good life will give you a belly.
That's right.
immediately that white beater looked extra small. You were like, oh damn, dude, 50 don't look the same.
They had to custom sew that white beater to put on.
But how many people talked about that and resurrected 50 Cent's name?
I thought he
for sure.
crushed the
You know what I
halftime
mean?
show. I loved it.
But I think the for me, Dr. Dre was the big part of that because I loved Dr. Dre growing up. That was the first album that really kind of like resonated. Like
The Chronic?
No, it was The Chronic. Yes,
Chronic,
Chronic. Yeah, that was one of the first albums I listened to as a kid. And like, see, the funny thing is, growing up, my sister Tasha, who's the oldest, that's how like I learned about hip hop. She had like this stereo,
Right.
and like I would go downstairs and just listen to Biggie, Tupac, Outkast, like all of these.
Now we're
so
there.
like when we're
Dropping
talking
gems.
about music or hip hop, and like you're not supposed to know this as a kid, but I was like 5 years old, and I'm sitting there like, just jamming out to this stuff.
So I was you. I had an older cousin, and I was you, but I was the 5-year-old listening to Slick Rick and Ice-T and the Ghetto Boys. Well, the Ghetto Boys were a little bit later on. I was about 8 when they came out.
Yeah.
Right. But man, I was that version.
You're a huge
Yeah.
Scarface fan, though. We've had this conversation.
I love
more than once about
Face Mob.
Scarface.
My Homies album was like our
Look, man, the first time when I was really young, I think it was
the My Homies album.
Slimmy's Geo Tracker.
Yeah.
I think I heard some Luke Skywalker. And I was like,
the Geo Tracker is like the windbreaker of trucks.
we were the coolest. He had a system in the back.
the
We were
Geo Tracker,
bumping
though?
Q, Ice-T. He used
Yeah.
to play a lot of.
Tracker that's the small box version,
Yeah,
right?
no,
With like
the
half
Geo
of
Tracker.
open.
Yeah, it was like a Jeep, but it was the windbreaker Jeep.
It was the
dog.
windbreaker.
It might only lasted 5 years, but there were some 5 good years.
And you would have to, those things like you
Had
would
to
have
put
to
Dayton's
start
on.
it for 5 minutes to get it warm. You'd have to run it around the block to get it warm. It was like
That's fair.
It like the Geo Trackers, dog. They were problems.
He got hit by a train in that thing. Remember?
did.
Yeah, he got hit
And he
by
survived?
And survived, yeah.
Speaking
Slimming.
of Hawk,
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, he survived. a
Shout out to
Geo
Jamie
Tracker,
Hudson,
man.
Home
He
Paper
walked
Company, by the
too.
way. Yeah.
Dude, a Geo
He did.
Tracker accident. You don't hear that a lot. Like,
can I be honest? I got a little
I feel like
bit
it
of
bounces,
anxiety
just
right
rolls,
now,
and keeps
thinking
driving.
about CDs.
just real.
Hold on, go ahead.
I have a little bit of anxiety thinking about CDs, man, because my tapes never skipped. You know what I mean?
That's
They-
true.
Yeah.
That's
then
true.
you put the CD, and the first time I ever heard a CD skip, I didn't know what was going on.
Well, they're like mini records. I mean, like it was
Oh, it was so
it was
heartbreaking.
designed to be a better record in the essence of what it is. But then once you get that first little glass scratch down the middle,
Yeah.
it was
It was
over
bound
for
to
the
happen.
CD.
It was over.
It was bound to happen.
But then
though.
you remember what Biggie said, buy my CD twice.
Yeah.
They see me in the streets, they be like, yo, he nice.
Right.
And when I heard that, I was like, man, I bought the Ready to Die album. This is probably my 6th or 7th one now.
Yeah.
It starts skipping, I throw it right out the window.
But my thing
You
is,
just go get new
I
one.
mean,
New
Biggie
one,
also
yeah.
said, "I let my tape rock till my tape pop." So
Yeah, true.
I can think of countless cassettes where it was just like it started going.
Yeah.
How many tapes
Because
have
the
you had
tape
there?
will break
One.
inside.
Yeah, you're right about
It's
that.
just running through at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We used to go. Tommy and I used to go every Tuesday. So nowadays it's every Friday on on Apple Music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But on Tuesdays, every Tuesday new tapes would drop. So like that was our thing. After school, we would all get together and go to Sam Goody or Camelot or whatever it was, and get in the Buick and get the newest tape, and we would just bump whatever.
Word.
I'm not gonna tell us how we acquired those tapes all the time. I ain't trying to get indicted on here today, but we were.
Then
There's probably a lot of
when they
things
were
we
doing
can't talk about.
when we were doing the mixtape shops and stuff, it's almost like kind of like how like you go to a poppy store and they might got some edibles or something weird up there. Like it's in that weird phase that like back then when you was jacking tapes, they were coming for you federally. They were gonna shut your ass down.
Dude, do you remember? So we were talking about this earlier. We were talking about like fake Jordans and stuff, the bootlegs and stuff like that. But if you remember, the people who had like the bootleg Jordans at the flea markets,
Sure.
they had the fire mixtapes too, though.
That's
did.
true.
And like the
true.
cover
Movies?
art, but the cover art was always fire.
Yeah.
It was like T.I. lighting somebody on fire or something. Like it was wild shit on those covers. And that's what got me in. I'd be like, I don't even know half these songs, but I'll buy this.
I think,
It's like
I think
$3.
the thing that I
Like,
respect about the craftsmanship of hip hop back then was that there's so much manual effort. It was like the analog version because we live in this age now where there's social media. I mean, you can go to like a Canva and make your own covers if you want to. You can go on whatever download system and buy a decent mic or one of those. They make the studio and a mic. What's that called? Maurice, you got me on this one. What's the mic with it? It's like a house that goes over top of the mic and it creates an in studio experience, but you can take it on the road. The chaotic eyeball. There you go. But like these type of things have made it literally so easy, quote unquote, for people to feel like they can make and create their own content and do their own thing. Like even like those mixtape DJs. How the hell did they get graphic designers to make those covers so
dude,
badass
they were
back in the day?
man, they were, dude. I
You
wish
feel
we
me?
could, we should start to find those
he's
and get
doing
a t-shirt line of those back.
Word.
Like seriously, because
I'd
those
buy
were
that.
like
That's not a bad idea,
Like
actually.
those were those stuff that came out, and it was just so like that was the thing that like when I looked at, like when we were at the flea market, whatever, and we all went to the flea market.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, like, dude,
Yeah.
let's not pretend.
Yes.
Okay. Like
Crystal Dragon. That was the other thing we did.
we all went to the flea market, no matter where we were at,
I
and
like
like
the
they
donuts.
always had the
I was big on the
Little mini
donuts.
orbits.
dude.
Yeah.
They had the bootleg, the fake tall tees.
Yeah.
You had the
Yeah.
fake tall tees. They had all the Mitchell and Ness fake jerseys.
FUBUs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, dude, they was
All the
but
FUBU stuff.
those albums were lit because at that point in time they had stuff that you could, or they had remixed like a Lil Wayne or whoever over a different beat. Which it was like some of the songs were better with a different beat to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
But it's
like,
funny. You talk about album art, and we're talking about the Ghetto Boys, right? One of the crazy stories I heard, you know, the one where it's the album cover of the Ghetto Boys where they're in the hospital and Bushwick Bill's on the hospital. It's like their most notorious album cover.
It was after Bushwick Bill got shot.
Bushwick Bill literally got shot in the eye by his girl. And like they didn't know if he was going to live or die. And they were like that day supposed to shoot the cover art. So the photographer's like, where's Bushwick at? So they tell him the story. They're like, well, is he going to make it? They're like, we don't know. He's like, well, let's go to the hospital. We better get this shot before he dies. They propped him up in a hospital bed with his eye shot, not know if he was going to live or die. Yeah, that's true. But that's what
Getting shot in the eye by your girl, not gangster.
No,
but getting
that's-
one of the most iconic pictures of all time.
Yeah, and that turned into literally one of the most iconic cover photos of all times. And to what your point, you know, you're right. Today, in today's world, we can get on Canva and create anything, but there was something special about the lengths those guys went to.
Yeah.
You know, to put the right, to put the right cover in
The
front of
process
their art.
wasn't streamlined. They had to think about it. They actually had to put that analog effort. You know what I mean? When you go into an old school, there's no better feeling than walking into a studio that has like an original analog board. I love all the fancy tricks that come with it. I mean, like even to be able to create a studio down to a 6x4 table or whatever. That's fucking science. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Exactly.
but at the same time, to walk into a studio there's a 10-foot or a 14-foot board that has 80 something channels on it. Like there's no, like you feel like you're in the zone at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're creating music or being around the creation process,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty badass feeling.
You know what I don't like nowadays is the fact that, and it's hard. I'm not saying you can't, because most of us don't buy the CDs. We just download everything off Apple or Spotify or stream it. But like, it's like Jay-Z says, if you're like me, you're reading the credits right about now, you know?
Right.
And
Do they
I
even
used to
have
literally
CDs? Do they sell CDs still?
would put the music in, and that's the first thing I did was open up the credits and go line by line for every credit. Sometimes they had lyrics in it. And the kids today don't get to appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's one thing I really miss. You
I
know?
think and I mean, you know, kudos to Kanye for bringing back that old school era of like 30 people on a record. You know what I mean? Like it's
Kanye,
Yeah.
that Pusha T album that just came out.
amazing, right?
Wow,
Yeah.
fire.
Well, and my thing is when you take a because Pusha T's kind of like the last of our generation. It's like 2 Chainz,
Yeah.
Pusha T, like that late '90s, early 2000s style is pretty much gone from hip hop today,
It is.
right? It's been recreated in a
Trap
different
music
form,
now.
but it's not
Trap
the
music,
same
that trap
thing
music.
anymore.
We in the
So
trap now.
so you take somebody like Pusha T and he's made, you know, even like Daytona like was an amazing album.
Yes.
But I think what he did
Daytona was
to elevate
awesome.
that sound was to work with somebody who is, I mean, somebody's, because you had Pharrell and Kanye co-produced the project. So them being at the best of their best, that beyond best, like Kanye and Pharrell are elevated to legendary. So to have them in a setting where they're all together creating music, and it's creating the most Pusha T music of all time. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like that album will be his album
Pharrell,
forever.
Pharrell was the Clips. I mean, that was Clips, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Pusha T,
yeah,
I mean, dude, I mean, they were
Pusha T and Malice
and Malice,
were-
yeah, they were the
crew.
they were the
Yeah,
shit,
for-
man.
They
you
wouldn't
know?
have done it without Pharrell for sure.
Yeah, no, they needed somebody to bring them together. Like I just because one song in particular, I think it's
Shout
called
out VA, man. VA, they were 3 heavy hitters
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
and they were moving weight too.
Yeah, they were really doing it.
It was like the Clips.
Oh, like
they
on
were
the Hancock
really
and stuff. There's boys down there that really know.
They were really
you know
doing
what I mean?
that life.
So
Clips.
Same thing as Cambridge with like Jay and them. Like,
Yeah.
East
Yeah.
Shore's
Groove
always
City.
been a hotbed. You know what I mean?
Groove City,
Yeah.
dude.
Shout out to my boy Kane from Triglet Trans, by the way.
So
He knows if he's watching, he knows what I'm talking about.
So is Kanye's dad from Delmar?
I heard
read
we
that
heard
the
that.
other day.
So his family member, I many
hold
moons
on.
ago, I was actually in the real estate game. I did property management. I
Yeah.
won't say who because he wasn't the coolest person in the world. But he like I went into their house and did a walkthrough. You know, the uncle of Kanye was there, and like I walked down the hallway and they've got pictures of like Kanye, like pictures of
Really?
like handwritten notes from Kanye and stuff. This was probably like 2009, 2010. So he was definitely late registration. He had already done, college dropout and all that.
I'm gonna give a hot
registration.
take. I mean, I think he's better off the meds than he is on them. Like when he's off the meds, like his creative
mind works
process. Like you could tell. So the song that I was gonna say is it's rock and roll, and like I turned it on for like a couple people. I was like, yo, hear this song, and just the beat itself, you can hear because Kanye's on the track,
Right.
But like just him, you can, and he's just, I mean, literally, it's like he's talking about Kim and all this stuff, like how but like his creative process when he's off of it, like off the meds. I know this sounds terrible, but like it frees his mind from like he goes to a different level where you're like
Therapy, man.
oh shit, like this is a different because on the, and I think because when he's on the, it's like it actually like doesn't, he's that creative juice doesn't get there. So like I hate to say it that way, like when he's not on the meds, when he's off the meds, like he's, I mean, it's crazy what he's creating.
I think there was like a 5-year period where we didn't know we were going to get with Kanye.
Yeah.
I think this Donda 2, this Balenciaga, this blacked out duck boot Kanye is the true version of who he is. Like I think I don't think he's out of touch.
Yeah.
I think he's playing everybody. I think that he's used his mental illness to create a almost like it's a funnel. It's a what do you call it? Like a vortex. He's sucking everybody in with it because like look at the way Kim's dressing and acting right now. Like she's doing wild, like dyeing your hair blonde to go to the Met Gala. It's not even that good. You're just doing it for the look to try to identify yourself separate from Kanye. When in reality, your identity became what it is through Kanye. So you know what I mean? Don't play Kanye. You know in that situation. In everything in his life is almost like he's talking about himself in third person to a certain degree. All of his angles that he creates are mental health isn't wrong. It's okay to have issues. You know, I'm dealing with them. Are you? You know that type of shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's so crazy.
It helps when you got a B in the bank. You know what I mean? You can kind of
you got to
do whatever you want.
The Tommy come in with the cool like when you got a B in the bank. You got to be.
I mean, it's the truest form of it is though. You can see College Dropout, his first couple albums, I mean, it was like rock solid. Right. Everything. And I heard a story about Kanye, and they talk about, I think it was Dave Chappelle told the story, was just like, he was like, brought him into the studio when the Chappelle show was still going. And he was like, I knew he was going to be a star when he was like, hey, I can't talk right now. I'm watching clips from the Chappelle show. And I guess the dude said something. He was like, yeah, my life's fucking dope and I'm awesome. And then just hung up the phone. And he was like, that's what I knew immediately. Like, he was like, Kanye, I knew Kanye was that dude. Like, who talks about themselves in the third person like that? Yeah. But that's what, I mean.
The creative mind is kind of a mental illness, though. We had a conversation about this.
Oh, yeah. I think
you got too much creative mind. I talk about this all the time.
Ready to get deep.
It's true, though. The creative mind is a mental illness. Look at all the greatest artists. Van Gogh was nuts.
The box on the way out.
I talk about this all. But the only way to really cure the creative mind is to continue to create. Yeah. Because I know, like me, if I get an idea, I have to act on it right now. Ask Shane, he'll tell you. I'll drive him nuts. I'll be like, dude, we got to do this, and we got to do this right now. If I don't get it out, I will lose my mind.
I put my phone on sleep mode at night
for Trader.
And like, dude, and Trader, I'll wake up and Trader has like 35 texts,
just ideas
in a row.
Just ideas.
It'll be like, so we need to do this, and then like you would think like a normal flowing person would be like, all right, he's probably sleeping. Yeah, Trader's like, let me add 13 more texts.
It's because it's like I'm making points.
Like, it'll be like, but the reason why we got to do it, like, and you're like, I wake up and then like I just be like, all right, yeah, that sounds good, and then he'll call me and be like, but no, seriously, like, did you see all this stuff? I'm like,
But that's the difference between you making it this seat and a lot of people don't.
That's true.
Some people are okay being mediocre and just trying to be what everybody else wants them to be, but Trader's not that guy. Yeah. There's only one Trader.
I understand that concept because when I sit still too long, I get irritable. Yeah. I get funky, man. Like I won't call it depression, but yeah, like I'm just like, bro, I need to be doing something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I'm in my mode. It doesn't turn off. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if I'm stuck on something, I'm not going to be satisfied until it's completed. You feel me? So I respect it, you know. And on the flip side of that, you know, the irritation of sitting still and not being inside your head and stuff, creatively, you know, that's just your mind trying to work that shit out and get you moving again, you know. So I mean, I think we overinflate depression and bipolarness and these type of things. I think you should be more zapped in on what it is that you want to do. Yeah, maybe it would be less of that.
Exactly. Like we're medicating, like, especially like kids, anybody, like Kanye West, right? We're medicating potentially gifts that these people were given out of them. Right. You know what I mean? And I mean, their imagination could change the world in some capacity. Yeah. You know what I mean? So why, I mean, I'm not saying some people need it, but I'm not saying like don't.
There's definitely mental health, you know what I mean?
There's got to be a balance. To a degree. Listen,
there was a dude walking down, so like the
that's another conversation.
Like he's clearly
that's another conversation. That will get
and you wonder why we're open 12 to 6 every day.
Like, I'm just being honest. Like, if we're being honest, there is like, let's not downplay that part. But you are right. I have severe ADHD. Sure. I take no medicine for it. Right. I take nothing for it, and that's why sometimes you'll see my foot shaking a lot. Yeah. Like people always say that when they're watching, they go, you shake your foot a lot, and I'm like, it's because I can't sit still.
I thought it was
touches
12
the mic,
espresso,
my mind is constantly. I have a hard time sleeping at night. Like that's what people don't understand is like when your mind is always, like you said, staying stagnant is my biggest fear in life. Right. Is like not growing. Yeah. Like in whatever capacity, it doesn't matter if it's in business or just personal life. Self growth is a huge thing too. Absolutely. Like, how can you improve from the day you work? Can I be a better man than I was yesterday? And how do I do that? And like, it's always analyzing. That's my biggest problem. I think that's probably one of my biggest problems. And maybe it's a blessing and a curse. I analyze everything, like everything. So that at the end of the night, I will literally like analyze my day and go, okay, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. And why didn't I do this? Why did I say that? Why? This is how I can improve on. I like replay. I have a photographic memory of my day. Like tonight, I will go to bed and be like, that conversation.
Think about this all night.
Yeah, I'll be like, I could have done this better on the cast. I could have done that. But I think it's just a part of self.
It's a gift and a curse,
man. But it's a part of what you're saying is
you got to learn to live with regrets.
Being medicated to do that. Like you don't have to be medicated to do that. Yeah. You just got to control your brain to focus on that thing. Like you have to.
I've been on my little PR run for Hoops on the Ave. So I was on another podcast the other night, and I said, they asked what a nugget or a gem was, and I think having patience with yourself, and I reiterate this in this context, but having patience with yourself, being able to be okay with what you're doing at the pace that you're doing it, it's a big part of not being overrun by anxiety or fear or depression or anger. You know what I mean? Being confident in knowing that it's like, okay, I'm going to take it easy with myself today because, X, Y, and Z happened. Or, I know that tomorrow I can accomplish A, B, and C to get to the next step. So, being patient and having the understanding that every day isn't going to be that one day or that best podcast or that, that number one deal or that, you know what I mean? Like that $3,000, shoe purchase, you know what I'm saying? They're not all going to be that way.
And it makes the good ones that much better.
Shoes?
I got something for 65 if you want it.
65. Are they 6,500?
What are they? The off-white Jordan 1s.
Okay.
Oh, no. 6,700 actually. Excuse me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to
size 9.5.
Where are they at? Are they in the store?
We might have made a deal today.
Where are they at? Are they in the store?
They're in the Ocean City store. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna have to go. Like now, you're gonna make me stop in to see. Like I got to see these.
Are like Travis
now.
Scott still cool? Are they still expensive?
No, Travis is going. Yeah, we have a dedicated Travis section. Travis Scott, I feel like his mystique only got stronger after that whole Astroworld thing happened because there's two media spins that he actively ignored these people, and then on the back end the footage came out and it was like, well, he wasn't ignoring those people. He's performing in front of 100,000 people. Right. It's a little difficult for somebody that's one person to fix that scenario. And then they like try to use like Billie Eilish of like her stopping her show. Well, you're performing in front of 30,000 people. Right. You know what I mean?
It's a little different mood
it's
too.
Different. Astroworld, there was 150,000
and they
people
rushed
there.
the gates too, by the way.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that like, so I have a really good friend of mine, one of my best friends. After all this happened, he was like, he texted me, and my man loves himself some conspiracies. And he was like, he released a song called Escape Plan that Friday.
Right.
And he was like,
And
and
the
they
portal
couldn't,
on
and he was
stage
like,
that they were
they
climbing
couldn't
into.
escape.
Yeah,
And I was
we've
like,
heard them all. Yeah,
like what the like I never thought. I was like,
but some
here's
of
the
them
thing.
crazy things
My
get
mind-
you thinking.
but
It
my
does-
mind-
it does.
Harder that you grab the
but-
mic with two hands. They couldn't escape.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I
he
felt
said
that,
it
you know
like
what
he
I'm
said
saying?
it so like he was like he released a song. It's called Escape. Like somebody's tapped in. He's
Yeah.
like, and they couldn't escape. And I'm like, and you think about it, and like I hate to say this, but my
I heard
mind
there was
is
somebody
not
with a
that
needle shooting people in the neck or some shit.
But my
Yeah.
mind is not that cynical to go
me
to the
neither.
point like when someone says that to me, I'm like, no, dude, like I just can't. Like,
90% of human aggressions that are conceived as conspiracy theories on the back end are usually people just doing dumb shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
That's what I was
wilding
gonna
out
say.
for no reason.
You ever
You know
been
what
to
I
a
mean?
concert? How hype were you? So
Yeah.
like things are gonna
Yeah.
escalate quickly when you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
Dude, I mean,
I don't
if you
think
don't
they
want to
like
get
the acid
stomped on,
test,
go
you
to
know
a
what I mean?
Garth
Like, don't
Brooks
drink the
concert,
Kool-Aid.
dude. Like, Garth Brooks is not. People aren't riding at Garth Brooks. You know, at a Travis Scott concert, like it's gonna get like it's.
Shouldn't get-
You're gonna be an asshole to belly button. You
Yeah,
can barely
yeah,
breathe.
yeah.
You know what I
Everybody's
mean?
gonna be
I
hype.
mean, that's what I'm saying. Or lit, as the kids say.
So-
yeah, it's gotta be lit.
So speaking-
I'm sorry.
Lit, as the
Sorry.
kids
So
say.
speaking of Travis Scott and the kids, right? And you and I think had this discussion.
The kids.
The kids. I don't know. It's been a lit, right? Speaking of Travis
How do we go from that to the kids?
so Tommy and I we're probably on the
wearing
old,
the same shoes.
We're wearing the same shoes.
I knew he was going to be on it.
we
I'm like,
kinda-
I want to go like retro, like you know what I mean. I don't have anything too cool.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, I got here. I was like, I don't know. And then Matt walked in. I was like,
Well, see, I was
Yeah.
like, it was a shudder between going like dress, like you said, linen suit
Yep.
with Versace's on, and I was
Right.
like, but then I was like, that's not this is
that's
not
not the
this
feel
is-
today.
yeah, this is not the vibe today.
Well,
I was like,
I'm going to tell
I brought
you,
the
your eclecticism
dark
is in
shades,
full display with
Eazy-E,
the alligator and the
5
horsehair.
letters, YMCMB.
The social statuses are premium.
this is I love, and we were just talking. I think it was 11s that I got that were like
Yep,
the
they're
cheetah
premium
print,
too.
and
Yep.
I'm like, I love I just love the prints when they do those limited runs. I'm like, I'm in. Just
Well, and
take
people,
my money.
people all the time with the Jordan Brand, they're like, oh, and Travis Scott does it well too. The idea of taking something and making it so eccentric, like the McDonald's collaboration, like
Yeah.
that shit was
Yeah.
weird in the beginning, but like then the marketing strategy behind it. Then you had what was the
Dude, my kid
what's
was
the other
tearing
cat,
them
the Latino dude.
you Bad Bunny,
Bad Bunny, there
Bad
you go.
Bunny, yeah.
So like then they had a series of multicultural,
Yeah.
McDonald's spokesmen.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the Little Baby and John Morant commercial yet?
Little Baby?
Dude, that song is fire.
No.
But look, this is what I was trying to get to.
Wait, hold on, Little Baby.
Look, oh, you know, Little Baby. Well, that's what I was going to get to. So,
Who's Little
speaking of
Baby?
Travis Scott,
Is that
Lil-
the artist, Little Baby?
Yeah, Little Baby, man.
Lil Baby, Lil Baby.
Yeah. So so Tommy and I, we grew up kind of in that same era of hip hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were kind of like the guys who grew up listening to the Slick Ricks and everybody when they were 5 and 6 years
Sure.
old. And then we migrated into the Biggies and the Jay-Z's in the 90s. We are 90s hip hop and R&B,
Sure.
right? But Tommy and myself are probably one of the few people that I know in their 40s that not just love trap music.
Yeah.
What's your all's thoughts on trap music? What's your all's thoughts on it? Come on.
Man,
I'm gonna go. I'll let Drew answer, and then I'll do the old.
Trap.
the
When I
old man.
honestly, when I think of trap music, I think of Lil Jon and the East Side Boys,
Yeah.
and like so trap music as you're trying to define it, it doesn't really have a definition because you talk about drill in Chicago. It's now migrated over to New York with Fabio, and Fabio Foreign's album is really drill centric as far as what the style is. That could be perceived as trap because of the downbeat style of what trap music came from, but to me, that progression of sound, whether it's like you take somebody like Uzi who has like a really upbeat kind of, it almost feels like yep, and then Fabio is my case in point because I got him on rotation right now.
Yeah,
but like Fabio's taking like grime music, New York music, and drill music and put it into one ball of wax, and like he's creating.
He can still spit.
Not to mention he's got the Kanye touch on top of it, so he's like
Fabio can go though.
Yeah.
He's got some bars. Like
So-
I would say trap music though. Wouldn't you say definition of trap music is there's no lyrically there's nothing behind it. Like it's kind of trap music is not meant to touch your soul about something.
It's trap music in its original
It's about trap.
form. We're talking about turn down for one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're talking
That's what I'm
about
saying,
trap
it's party,
music,
it's
right?
party, it's
Do you
party.
agree with that? The trap music would be
it's party music, right?
right. The beats first.
It was just,
exactly.
It's about partying. It's just like you turn that on at a party. You're not going to turn on a Nas track at a party. Unless you guys,
that's fair.
Like unless you guys all want to light one up and pull
I'm gonna tell you right now, when Nas came on Ozarks last week, boy, I was hyped.
Yeah.
I was hyped. I was hyped.
What were you saying, Tommy?
You know, we're speaking to it from an old head perspective.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask my kids, I got a 19-year-old son and a 14-year-old son, and you know, his idea of trap music is Kodak Black. You know, what I mean? And like Uzi Vert and all that. Which is cool. Because I see that and how they came to that conclusion. Yeah. But I also see what you're saying. So it's kind of, you know, me and Matt talk about it all the time, man. When trap, you know, when we first started really getting into it, I hated it.
Yeah, I did too.
I categorized it with mumble rap, and I'm just maybe.
Well, that's their rap.
I might get crucified
right?
for
Isn't
it,
that
but
just...
I don't like that. But then I started listening. You know, Rick Ross had a couple of people on that kind of opened my eyes up maybe a little bit more, and I was just like, wow, man, like.
I like that Moneybag Yo is fire. That dude.
The best way I can put it is somebody
right
said it the other day. They said, so our generation looks at hip hop differently than the generation before us, and the same thing goes down.
It's exactly.
Us saying it's trap music or it's mumble rap, to them it's just rap.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
It's a generalization of a counterculture.
Exactly.
So we're saying that because the perspective of we're saying we grew up with certain guys that literally would get on a song and talk about their life.
Yeah.
You know, and talk about how they slang dope, and this was how they got out of the struggle. And now we're, as old men, we listen to music about people talking about literally just doing drugs. And we're like, what this doesn't make sense. Like, we're the old men now, but it's their music.
But that's the rock and roll we grew up listening to, the Pink Floyds, the Pearl Jams, you know, that was what their music was about. So really this generation of hip hop is really a lot like that drug-induced version
of rock and music. Roll. You know, in the 70s, you know, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, they were the legends, right? But then you get into the Bret Michaels and the White Snake and all these other rock bands in the 80s that were really kind of a clusterfuck, but like a lot of people liked certain bands the way they liked them. You know what I mean? So if you like Pour Some Sugar on Me, you like that. If you wanted Bon Jovi, you could get that too, right? So you take this day and age, I mean, we only in our generations, if we're talking about the let's say 35 and up range, right? If you take that generation, you know, we grew up in a countrywide debate of whether it was East Coast or West Coast. You feel me? But now the music has been so regionalized, and I quote me on that, and you could put like a little definition. Regionalized is that's my word. And
put it in parentheses.
But you take, you know, you were talking about Moneybag. You take Memphis. You know, you're talking about Young Dolph. You're talking about Key.
I like Takeoff. Takeoff's my man.
Yo Gotti. Who else?
Takeoff from Amigos. Takeoff's my man, dude.
Takeoff's ATL. So now you got Takeoff. You got Future. You got you even got 2 Chainz. You got T.I. Like that's a region.
We know it's funny because you talk about lyrics, right? And so to me, Andre from Outkast is. It's hard to say because Jay's like my number one guy, but Andre from Outkast to me is like the greatest lyricist ever, depth wise. And he and his son, I read an article where he and his son, all they listen to is Future because he says Future resonates with him. I'm like, if Andre is giving this guy this much credibility for his lyrics and his depth, then man, maybe there's more depth to the music lyrically than we realize.
About when somebody like Outkast came online, what did we call them? What kind of music? What do we generalize that back in the late 90s, early 2000s?
That's a good question.
That's true.
It's the South.
It is.
It was South.
At that
point, the Dungeon Family was its own sound. Yeah, the Dungeon Family was
South, and a lot of people thought it was over the top.
Yeah,
like a lot of people thought it was over the top. Like,
so look, I want to get to hoops on your hoops program down on Memorial Day weekend. I want to get to that. But one thing I do want to do is I kind of want to go around and because we're talking about hip hop, I want to get everybody's top 5, man.
Okay.
Go. Because this is a conversation that always comes up. Everybody's top 5 is different. There's no right or wrong when you're talking about art.
You got to have some ground rules. I mean? Is it dead or alive?
No, I don't.
No.
I
feel like it should just be like all time.
It's not who you think.
Are we talking like
just your favorite personal top 5.
Just for you.
There's no right or wrong. What resonates with you?
Not album sales, not none of that. Because every time this comes up,
well, no, because
people are like, well, album sales, or I mean,
I'm not talking about album sales.
Personally, so you gotta go off of what your personal like is, like your flow. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
You want to start? You got to do it. Let's start with Tommy. Kick it up, Tom. Who you think?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna put my disclaimer out there now. If you ask me this question every day, it's probably gonna change a little bit. For me, it depends on my mood. You know, today, I will say that for me, Big is just like he ain't even one. Like he's above one, and then I'll do my top 5.
Yeah. I knew you were gonna say that.
You know what I mean? I just because when I grew up, what he was saying, I felt like related to me. A little bit.
Well, and he never had an opportunity to create, 10 albums like some of these rappers have. So,
and let's talk about the culture, like what he did to the culture, like his cultural impact. Big lasts forever. Big's like everything that he did in the short amount of time that he was here, like that resonated with so many people. Like he's touched so many people.
Everybody could relate to him. You know that.
I mean,
that was the thing.
And he says it like he says it on every song. He talks about a lot of different things that resonate with different people. So
one thing,
we can all agree that Big is. I mean, we can all agree that Big is.
I think Big's death really brought everybody back to hip hop, because I'll tell you why. Because for probably about 91 to probably about 94, 90, something about 95, 90. I don't know. It was a big stretch of time, right? Probably rock and roll dominated. The grunge scene in rock and roll dominated. It just did.
And they're like Nirvana,
Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. When Big died, it was like the very next day. Everybody came to school with an identity crisis. All the long hair guys who were rocking the flannel shirts, they were like, wait a minute, do I like rockin' or do I like rap now? So what you found was now they're wearing the long hair with the flannel shirts, and now they got breakaways and sneakers on. Right. And it kind of blended the culture. Yeah. Tommy was the dude that was on Big, like, before all that.
All these kids on Big.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, what about, but go ahead. So let him finish his talk. Go, because we really.
A whole nother episode.
It is.
Man,
it is.
So probably, and I'm just saying this because it's my mood today. I mean, I put Lil Wayne way up there, and just because a lot of people just hear him, but if you really listen to that dude, I mean, he says some things that
post Rikers.
Well, side note, Wayne is the daddy of today's generation. If we're being clear,
Wayne
is the daddy of all these young rappers.
Post Rikers, his flow kind of slowed down. Before he did his bid. He never had a flop.
Yeah, when he was in the zone.
Oh my God! Every mixtape. I mean, Drought 3 was probably his best mixtape.
Yeah.
Drought 3. Like, I can repeat every song off there.
So I guess him. I should say maybe not in this order, but it's kind of in this order. You got to go Jay-Z.
Yeah.
You got to. I mean, Jay-Z's.
That was an order? Is that 1 and 2?
Kinda.
Fair enough.
Kinda. Drake. I put Drake up there.
Tommy's a huge Drake fan.
I'm a huge Drake fan. Every time anybody's around me, man, they're like, yeah, we get it, dog. I'm like, no.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with it.
If you get over Tommy's house and his shed, boy, and his Drake is going to play it.
I think Drake became cool to hate on Drake.
Right.
But I mean, it's became a part
we're talking
of that.
about I'm a Big L fan. I like to put Big L up there. He's another one.
You're a big Rick Ross fan too.
A huge Rick Ross, man. I can't put Rick 1, 2, or 3 yet, but in my mind.
How can you put Big L in that conversation without an album though? Without a real full project?
Because I'm basing it on, again, linguistics. So, like, if you hear some of the things that Big L used to say, when I first, because he's obviously not around anymore, but he was, when we were young, he was he was fighting to hit the scene, and about the time he hit it, he got took out. But man, some of the things that
the 7-minute freestyle with him and Jigga Boy was like,
good Lord, that I forget the exact lyric, but when he's talking about he loves to see cars come by bumping his shit.
I'm so far ahead of my time. My parents haven't met yet.
You know what I mean?
Big L was
just
the man.
Things like that, man. When I guess when I was young, I heard things like that, and it expanded my mind. Like, man, I didn't think the human mind could come up with something like that, and that's why I put Wayne up there and all that. But yeah, so
you got Wayne, Jay, Drake, Big L.
Five's hard. Five's hard because five's definitive.
Biggie, or you just
Big's not even on. Like he's for me, But if you want to put him one, you can trickle down. I mean, I put Tupac there. I don't buy into the whole East Coast West Coast big Tupac beef. I don't care about none of that. But Pac's pretty good. But man, to finish out the 5. Shoot, that's tough.
Yeah, it's hard to put I can't.
Did I already say
5
Nas?
becomes.
No, you didn't. So
let's stick Nas in there.
So
man. I gotta give.
You got a personal favorite song? Favorite song? Just some personal favorite song.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
About Biggie.
All right.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, Drew? Your turn. What do you got? What do you got?
Well, I think I'd have to split mine into 2 top 5s because, I mean, if we're talking about influential of all times, you could say Biggie, J, Drake, Kanye, and if we're talking about influence artists, you're talking about Outkast. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like those 5, and Outkast was a group. So
I was going to say, man, that's not fair. So
walk on that line,
group.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the root. The roots would easily be in my top 5 if there was a group. But I'm saying MCs, right?
Right. So then you're saying I'm going to go back to what I was saying. I mean, Jay is my number 1.
Yeah,
because from my generation, Jay
me too.
is the best. If there's a right on his heels, if not right in his face, it's Kanye and Drake. I mean, both of them equally and separately because Kanye's got longer tenure than Drake does. You know, by what 6-7 years. But Drake has caught Kanye in a crazy pace that, you know, I mean, he's dropped so many projects over a 10 to 12 year period of being in the game that you would think he's been here as long as Jay.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So that I would say that top 5 of all time, you got to put Biggie in that equation. I mean, there's just no reason not to. And then, you know, outside of that, I mean, you know, if we're talking about prolific, if we're talking about spaces that'll transcend, I feel like, you know, Tupac obviously was our generation's kind of prolific, but then you got to say Nipsey as our prolific. You know what I mean? If we're talking about most impact on hip hop over time, right?
Yeah.
But then if we're talking about top 5 right now, I'm saying Lil Durk.
Yeah,
I'm saying Fabio Foreign.
You like Benny the Butcher? What Benny?
I'm saying Benny the Butcher.
Benny's my man.
I'm saying
Benny's my man.
So you know, you got Fabio, you got Dirk, you got Benny the Butcher. I love Roddy Ricch.
I don't know much about Fabio, man. I can say I get on him. I don't know much about him.
He did an off album recently, but I feel like he transcended.
You put me on to somebody. I don't know about Fabio, so I need to check him out.
Fabio Foreign crazy, man.
I don't know much about him.
He was on the Nas album. He was a feature on a bunch of tracks on Nas album.
But then you still have to equate Kanye and Drake into that right now equation too, because I'm listening to Drake and Kanye as much as I'm listening as my top 5s of all time. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it really is. I listen to too much hip hop.
It's generational.
I got lists.
I'm the same way, man. That's why I was like, here it comes.
It's generational. So favorite song, you got like a personal favorite song? Something that just touches you?
My personal would go back to Jay too. Imaginary Players is mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's all the same album.
99 cents. Mine was full buzz.
Like 30 to 40 grand, cocksucker beat it.
How about when we used to watch the movie?
Oh, so that's what I was gonna say. And man, Tommy and I, back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember this, the Streets is Watching soundtrack.
Yeah.
So we had this on VHS, and we would like bring it to school, and then like if we go to Tommy's after school or my buddy Casey's or wherever we would go, somebody would have the Streets is Watching VHS, and we would that's what we did like pretty much every day.
You'll soon see. Now, please give me the room keys.
Yeah.
If you draw, better be Picasso. You know the best. Because if this is not so, God bless. Right? Yeah.
No doubt.
But yeah,
before I transition, if y'all want a good regional artist to listen to, DMV right now, he just dropped an album recently. His name's YG Tech. He's amazing. He's really I wouldn't have said he was amazing 2 years ago, but his last project, fire.
YG Tech,
fire.
I think my son may have put me on there.
So we'll keep.
Yeah, Baltimore. Yep.
So me, I got to go Jay 100%. I mean, Jay was the guy
that was coming.
he was the guy that got because I dropped.
Dude, you've literally dropped a lyric every podcast episode.
He's got them all.
He'll be like, he was like, I got a Jay line for this one.
Jay,
hey, maybe we can get Jay to come through on the podcast.
Yeah, can we get
You know what I'm
Jay?
saying?
Can we get Jay on the line?
Let's work on getting Jay.
Jay was the one that got me back into hip hop. Like I was the guy who was, and I still love rock and roll, but I'll never forget the day that I discovered Jay, right? So I wasn't even Reasonable Doubt. It was in my lifetime. My buddy Anthony calls me up and was like, hey man, I got this gift card to Sam Goodies. He's like, you got it.
Sam Goodies.
Yeah, he's like, it was around Christmas. He was like,
That's where FYE is now.
Yeah, Sam
And
Goodies.
I don't even know if FYE is even there anymore.
Yeah.
he was like, take me to get I want to go get this in the history. There was Rap Volume 1 album or whatever. So I go there. So I was like, man, I just got this Buick. I was like, I got some JLs bumping. I was like, I need to get some Rat Man to bump.
Black and mild. He's got the menthols. He's got
that's it. Oh, the Newports. Oh yeah,
Newport menthols.
Right.
100s.
You said Black and Mild and then menthol. I was like, damn, they're making Black and Mild menthols.
Dude,
now?
those would be
what,
lit.
The world.
We got 2 killer ideas on this broadcast.
Yeah.
One for the shirts. You know what I mean? Don't
Black and
nobody
Mild
steal
hit
our
me up.
idea.
Menthol, dude. Menthol.
Milds.
Oh man, dude. Meth and mild.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it'd be a problem. That's a problem.
So I looked up, man, and there was like a whole wall of this guy. It was the In My Lifetime album. I was like, Jay-Z, that's I used to wear the Jimmy Z stuff back in the day. This is completely judging a book by its cover, right? So I'm like, I'll check this guy out.
Yeah.
So I put it in. Well, they've got the City Is Mine sample coming in. That's like the second song after 1 Million Questions. And I was like, dude, I'm hooked, right? That would just have me hooked. And then Lucky Me off that album is like my personal favorite song of all times. And it's funny you talk about Wayne. Wayne has the lyrics to that song written, tattooed on his body, Lucky Me. Lucky Me is just like, that's my song, man. Like, I love that song. It's so powerful when you sit back and listen to it. Second, Andre from Outkast, man. I mean, it just, Andre straight up lyrically, depth-wise, I mean, you hear the song 16 Ain't Enough with him and Rick Ross. Is it Rick? Yeah. I mean, the depth of that guy lyrically is, like, Eminem's good with wordplay and stuff, but
damn, I forgot about him.
Eminem's not my. He's not my top. Eminem's not my top 5.
This is 4 white dudes. I'm gonna say it.
Eminem's not my top 5. Not even. I don't even. I'm not an Eminem guy.
Eminem
Sorry.
is in their top 5. I'll get up and walk.
Eminem's not my. Eminem's not my.
Listen,
he's not my. He's not
4 white dudes.
bro.
Like 4 white dudes. I hate when people are like, dude, Eminem's fucking.
Yeah, but
fire,
honestly,
dude.
though,
It's
not
like,
to interrupt because I know it's short.
no, he's fire for a while.
I'm not an Eminem guy.
Out though,
He's
and I
fire.
heard that, I was like,
He's fire for a
Shady?
while. Listen,
wow, yeah.
but it's like, dude, it's like grading the person on a handicap
But it was
scale,
short-lived,
dude.
I feel.
You're
Right.
like, he's good for a white dude.
Right.
Like, I mean, like, listen, let's be honest. If we're being very transparent about this, if he was not white, he'd be an average rapper.
So what?
He's an average rapper. Like, he's not.
That's a big claim.
That's not. I'm not.
I'm gonna let you ride on that one, Shane.
I'm not gonna sit here and back down off of that.
So what I was
on that shit.
I mean, I'm going hard in the paint.
I love it.
Because
coming
if he
in hot
was
with that
not, if he was,
I'm with you on that.
because white people,
I'll roll with you.
White people are like,
I'm not an Eminem
he's
guy.
with us.
He's making a social statement and his social statuses.
and we have to support it.
I'm
That's
just
how the
saying,
world
dude.
works.
I mean, that's a hot
keep a
take.
spade a
but-
spade. Yeah.
What I
It
was.
hasn't been hot in 10 years. Real talk.
Dude,
That's fact.
that's what I'm saying.
M fell off to me when he started doing the stuff with the trumpet, was it the little puppet dog shit. Eminem's clowning me. I'm just not a big fan.
Jumped
Just
up with a
not.
broken
Sorry.
back.
Dude,
Thank
when
God
I
I
was-
was smoking crack all day and doped up off coke and smack.
Come
Like
on.
that. When I was young and I heard that, I was like, holy.
The Marshall Mathers LP was good, but I don't want to get into a conversation about Eminem.
No, yeah.
That's
I'm
the
just-
last thing.
I just wanted to say that.
What I was trying to
Let's
say
get
was
that out of the way.
what-
4
enough.
white dudes
Fair
here
enough.
that we identify as white males.
Yeah.
That the only reason why Eminem is hot is because he's a white rapper.
That's a pretty bold claim. But either way, we're running on time.
Yeah.
We're running on time, right? Right. So what I was trying to say is I talk about Andre's depth, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, how could you say he's look?" Eminem is like a shot. To me, he has shock lyrics. He's master with wordplay. He's nowhere near the level of depth as Andre is. And don't get me wrong. It's hard to debate art because
that's what I just said.
It's hard to debate art because what means something to one person doesn't mean the same as somebody else. Number 3, AZ, all day long. That's my guy.
Man,
AZ is my third. He's the when you talk about underrated, he is the poster child for underrated.
I'm scratching
that guy.
somebody and
That
putting
guy
AZ
is the most
in my top
loyal,
5.
true to
You
who
make
he
that
is, rapper. He's always stayed there. When you hear the world don't stop, I mean, he rips that. You'll be hard pressed to find anybody that rips a verse like he does on the world don't stop. I mean, AZ's the man. Number 4, Scarface. Scarface all day long. I grew up on the Ghetto Boys.
Dude, you have the hottest takes of.
I'm not saying these are the greatest
Dude,
ever.
I mean,
I'm saying these are my personal favorite guys.
Mid's top 5 is not even like half the world's top 10.
I'm just saying these are my personal favorites. Scarface.
I respect it, though. He's convicted.
If my man's like, I've got to explain why.
Look,
you don't.
You can see in his eyes.
I'm just saying.
This is a safe space, though. This is a safe space.
Scarface.
Safe space, dude.
Scarface taps into that manic depressant element that a lot of people don't I think, tap into. He was he was the first guy that was like, I'm in the four corner room staring at candles when everybody else was, it's tricky to rocko around or rock, you know what I mean? So Scarface is the man. But
we're getting wrapped up.
We're getting wrapped up here. Number five. Number five.
Getting wrapped up.
Number five. I want to say Guru. Right, as I love Gangstar. Guru is just a man. But it's so hard to put a cap on it. Like I said, I would use the Roots probably if I could. We gotta get the Shanes too. We didn't even get to.
Dude, my man is so 5 because I'm not gonna explain any of mine because you already know. Eminem's number 1, 3, and 5.
Okay.
No, just kidding. So in no particular order. Pusha T, Big, Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nas.
Okay.
I
like that. I know I left Jay out, and I know I left Tupac.
There was a lot of
I know I left
similarities
Tupac, but for me, Jay is everybody. I mean,
that's
everybody loves.
So you left Jay off.
I left Jay off just because everybody's.
That's fine.
It's the same. I love his music, but it's not. That's not the end all be all for me.
Right.
Like I love Nas, I love Pusher stuff. That's real music to me.
No doubt.
And not that Jay doesn't, but Jay hasn't really made a like legit project where it's like he's got money now.
Right.
His first, Jay's first couple albums, they were from the heart, but now
he got to be in the
band. No, 444 was probably his most from the heart album ever. 444 was his most vulnerable piece of work. Yeah, that was.
Well, listen, hold on.
But we got to get on. Yeah, this is really what we came here for today. Was to talk about your project on Memorial Day, man. You got this big event.
Hip hop.
Well, all right. Well, we got to talk about the big event.
Guys talking hip hop was the plan today, right?
4 guys.
That's why he told us to wrap up. That's why he wrapped us up.
Dude, and everyone thinks Eminem's the top fucking rapper.
Nah, Eminem,
Nah, but it's going down May 28th, the Civic Center. It's going down Wicomico Civic Center parking lot, actually.
Okay.
Hoops on the Ave. It's a 3-on-3 basketball tournament.
Yeah.
Sneaker marketplace. It's going to be an art vendor space where kids can connect with like 2 artists on the shore. One off the shore, one on the shore. Miriam Moran from Cambridge and my boy Hootie Hoo from DC. They're doing activations throughout the day. Live music. So we got the Changing Faces band coming out. Caleb Brown and the Roots Movement's playing. And then C-Mac's actually performing new cuts from his project. His project drops May 20th. Rose Color Lens. You want to talk about best artists? You know what I mean? Max in my top 5 somewhere. You know?
Okay, all right.
It's not just because he's my dog. He can actually rap. So,
shout out to C-Mac.
And Gordito said the same thing off air, man. You know what I mean? I think lyricism's a big thing in hip-hop. And if you ain't got lyrics, you ain't hard. So, I think Max definitely dope when it comes to lyrics. But yeah, so live performances. You also got the kids area, and the best part of all this is it's free to the community. It's family friendly. You know what I mean? So you're not gonna have nothing crazy. I would love to get you guys out there if you could be a part to help us with our Artist Proving Ground. Y'all down?
Yeah, dude, I'm in.
I'd love to have you.
Memorial Day weekend. I'm gonna try like a solo. I told you before.
I know you're busy with the kids.
I'm not the guy that's gonna tell you. I'm not the guy that's gonna tell you 100%.
After this,
we've got 12 artists that are doing a proving ground through the OG show, and we're excited to put them on the stage and give them an opportunity to perform in front of.
I still got to get on the OG show.
Salisbury crowd.
We've been talking about this since November. You hit me with. I got to come up with a playlist, and that it goes back to the analytical.
Yeah.
It goes back to.
You're gonna have him racked for like 2 weeks.
No, he's been racked for 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
I gotta put this one right here. Like Trader actually has a playlist.
I gotta get the R&B
and he puts it in perspective. Yeah. He'd be like, but this comes on after that song.
That's it.
To change the mood, to change the tempo.
It's the truth. But look, speaking of changing the mood, changing the tempo, we're getting a signal up. They hit us with the wrap it up box, Chappelle style. Mm-hmm. So it's time for us to wrap it up. Drew, appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you, brother.
I
appreciate you, man.
Thomas,
sure, man.
My man.
Respect, bro.
Shane, as always. Look, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time right here only on Prop Culture, baby. Whoa, no, look at what's going to happen before it's over with.